All right, Juan, tell us who we're with today.
All right. We have a guest who's doing some great things, tying education, crypto, wears many hats, public speaking, entrepreneur, Amen Rahh, AKA the Principal Rahh, or the Revolutionary Principal. How you doing tonight?
You heard? You already know. Nah, man, I'm good, man. Feeling good, man. Feeling righteous, feeling revolutionary, to talk all things crypto and education with y'all gentlemen, so we could revolutionize the world, you know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. And look, the people aren't going to know we had a little technical difficulty, but I'd be remiss if I didn't get this story. So Amen Ra, Egyptian sun god. Tell me a little bit about your name. Every name has meaning.
Yeah, no doubt. So my pops, man, I'm actually named after my pops. In the States, he's known as Professor Amen Ra, right? And he helped build the Black Studies Department at Long Beach State. But before he was Amen Ra, his name was Arthur Montgomery, and he was actually in prison at a young age, and he started to read, learn his history, and his inmate was like, "Yo, you sounding powerful. You like the hidden power to me, like Amen Ra." And then he started doing research on Amen Ra, and then when he got out of jail, he changed his name to Amen Ra. And then met my mom, 6 kids. I'm the last of 6, and it was like, "Yo, we gonna name him after Amen Ra," and that's how I got my name. I was the last, and then we carried the heritage of the Egyptian sun god. We just spell it differently, though. You know what I'm saying? Put a little razzle dazzle on that thing.
Make it your own, right?
Yeah.
That's what's up. Names are powerful, man, and that's why I think that stems from just like words being powerful, and just going back to education. Just teaching people that the things you think become the things you say, become the things you do, become the habits you have, becomes the reality that you experience. You know what I mean? So, no, I think that's a great way to kick things off. But go ahead, JB. I know you had a question brewing up.
Well, yeah, no, because obviously we're still getting to know each other, and we follow each other and on Twitter, and we've had multiple conversations. You're doing some awesome stuff. But hearing that about your dad, did his journey kind of influence your journey as far as education and kind of where you are today?
Absolutely. But I mean, that was later on. I didn't want to be in education at all.
Oh, okay.
Like they wasn't like, I'm the youngest of 6. Out of us, 5 of us are in education, right? But I'm the youngest. I grew up, I was like, yo, y'all some squares. Like y'all ain't making no money. Y'all ain't doing that. Like, who want to be it was just like, that wasn't aspirational to me. Like, want to be a teacher? Y'all like, that wasn't cool. I was playing football. You know what I mean? I was a rapper. My rap name was Solo. And I was like, yo, I gotta get some money. Like, so I was rapping, and still rap, still write poetry. But then I was like, all right, I got tired of that. And then I played football. Football started to get serious for me. 11th grade, started to get recruited from just like D1, some HBCU, started to go on trips, combines, and stuff like that. And but I tore my ACL, MCL, and PCL.
Like everything.
Damn. Right? Yeah. So it was minor ACL, but the PCL it's the PCL gone. Yeah. So at that moment, man, I was recruited to play defense, and the coach was like, yo, we're gonna move you to offensive guard. I said, you got me messed up, bro. Like I got recruited to play defense. You ain't about to put me in an offensive lineman. Like, you tripping. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm 17 years old, and it was like, yo, you can take your butt back to Compton. I said, I don't care. Like, take me back to Compton. I was like, man, they sent me back to Compton, man. And that was it for football. That was it for me. And I read this book called The Alchemist. Changed my life, the story of Santiago. And that's when education chose me. You know what I mean? That's where, like, the things that my father used to say and all those different things, it just clicked. And then that was my hidden purpose, man. That was my hidden treasure, and everything's been great ever since.
Man, I'm like a major book nerd, like super nerd. And I think it's just because of the relationship I had with school, where like I made it to a point in life where certain things I wanted to learn, I knew that a teacher is like a guide. And so you could be walking this journey, but the teacher really just shows you, look, like, go a little bit this way. all right, now you discover, try this way a little bit, right? And they just help you along that journey. So once I started figuring out that if you wanted to learn certain things, you just had to find certain books, because the best stories of life is hidden in pages, right? And so The Alchemist, somebody gave me that book, and what I took out of it was, oftentimes the thing that you're searching for is right where you started out before you left.
Right,
you know what
right,
I mean?
right.
And I mean, just off of that insight, that's not necessarily what you took out of it, but
Right.
I mean, obviously, if it's an influential book for you, it had to have meant something to you. Just talk a little bit about, just talk about that a little bit more, how the right message at the right time can really impact you.
So if you read this, you got to listen to the omens, right? Like listen to the universe, because the universe will conspire for your journey. And the story of Santiago is like, the beauty was the journey. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember in the book, when he met the alchemist, and he had to go around the building, and he had the spoon. He had to kind of notice everything in the building while not dropping the liquid from the spoon. And he went around and he was looking and came back, and everything was off the spoon. And he went around focused, didn't notice anything. And it was like this balance, right, of understanding. Like, for me, I can get hyper focused on everything and lose myself in the moment. But it was like, no, you need to capture everything in. You need to be able to find the joy while also staying focused on your journey. And then like another aspect like I love about the book was the Crystal Merchant. The Crystal Merchant talked about, having his dream, but never really wanting to fulfill it, because he felt like if he fulfilled it, he didn't have anything to live for. And that hit me. And I was just like, damn, how many of us is walking around with dreams that we never wanted to actually realize? Unrealized dream, right? And then I started to think about, like, in the book, it highlights this. It says, every dream that goes unpursued becomes your life's biggest regret. And I said, damn. And then this dream of me saying, like, y'all, I want to change the world, right? Like, that was my dream. And it said, like, I got to pursue it. And I felt like the way that the pathway to a better world is through education. And that's where, it was like, oh, I want to make an impact and then scale it. So that is how like the book resonated with me. And there's so many stories, so many things in there that I could talk about, but that book was life-changing for me.
I agree with you. When I read it, I think that was the biggest thing for me is that I took away was like, we all have our own personal journeys. And my interpretation of the book, yours, Courtney's, everybody's different, but there's something in there to pull away from everybody. And what you just said really reminded me of like my parents and them not fulfilling their dreams. And maybe, there's different things that happen in their lives, and there's a reason why they didn't, but, some of it's out of fear. And for me, even getting into this NFT space and stuff like that, like, it was just simply because like, I didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I have the same aspirations as you, as I want to impact the world in a positive way. And, I've known my guy Courtney for 10 years now, and he's the exact same way. So it's kind of funny how like the universe works. Like when the people you meet, the experiences you have, and how you get to where you are. But for you, like, you're from Compton, you were a rapper, poet,
right,
football player.
Right.
How did you take that swagger and creativity and, apply it to education? And, you got funding for your school. I think it was back in 2017. Cool. And I see this content on your Twitter of kids just having fun. You're up there rapping, freestyling with them, making music videos. Like, these kids are loving it. Like, how did you take that version of yourself and then become a principal? Like, how did you come about doing that?
Yeah, man, the journey of it's been a hell of a journey, man, like going through education, because I went to be a teacher and I felt like I had to be something else, code switch and become Mr. Rahh, right? Like, I had to become that. And I was doing it for a while. I was like, I came in my little suit, and I was just like, hi, I'm Mr. Raw, and doing all that. It was just like, yo, man, it was after every day, I was just exhausted. Like, damn, it was like that video you see on TikTok when they take it all off and they like and they turn into that different person. I was just like, man, one day I just said, man, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna be me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna be me. And I said, I'm gonna surrender the outcome. And I got it from this book right here. This is my second favorite book. It's called Chop Wood, Carry Water. How to fall in love with the process of becoming great. And in the book, it said, man, you surrender the outcome. And I surrendered the outcome and became my authentic self. And kids just was like, yo, what's up, bro? What up? I'm like, yo, what up? We got handshakes. I started to be me. Like, do I wear suits some days? Yeah, but then like I can't help who I am. Like, yo, I'm gonna wear a revolutionary educator chain. I'm gonna wear my Compton hat. I got my J's on. I got my kicks. Like, that's just who I am. I talk with a little ain't like I do that, right? So when I became that, I just found my purpose, and I just wanted to like really make a deep, deep impact. And really what I wanted to do, I wanted to build a school I wish I had. You know what I'm saying? Like, education ain't rocket science, man. Like, if you think about sports, you got coaches that you will run through a wall for.
Same.
You got coaches that, man, you wouldn't even give them a sip of your water if it was the last damn water there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and really when you think about the process, is because that coach love you, right? Got a good relationship with you, can connect to relevance in your life and make you feel like, oh, I'm on a journey of relevance. And then they challenge you. They challenge you to become great. So like those things were like, that's the same thing in school. Man, I'm just a head football coach. That's all it is. I'm just a head football coach. That's kind of like how I went through it. That's kind of like how I attack it. That's kind of like how I always envision a school. It's like, man, why can't I have a music studio in my school? Why can't I have a heat press so you can make your own merch? Why can't you have all that? So we did it and said, go do it, go kill it. And that's kind of like that journey, man.
Man, that's awesome. And I think partially the conversation of like representation comes to mind. And, so I use it, and I learn off analogies. Football coaches, they love to give you analogies. They give you the little mnemonic devices so you can actually take the lesson with you and carry it on, pass it on, oral tradition. So like for me, it's if I can see it, I can do it.
Right.
And if you show me, I can copy. You know what I mean? It's easier to edit a paper than to write one. So when I look and I see somebody of stature with authority, but they can relate to me. Someone was asking me, like, how do you get somebody who's so focused on just playing sports to start thinking about their future? Show them somebody who played sports and then had a different future. And then now they can see it and now they can imagine it.
Right.
So talk a little bit more about how it's important for an educator to be able to relate with the people that they're teaching.
Man, for me, it's a lived experience, man. Like anybody that can connect to you usually connect to you because they've been there, they've done that, and they can touch the pain points of your soul as you go through it. Think about the music. The most of the time we connect with hip hop artists that's like speaking to like, damn, I was there where I was broke. I know, like I'm looking at Genius right now, and I'm resonating with Kanye. I'm like, yo, I know what it's like being an underdog. Like I feel that. So I know what it's like being that kid in the back of the class, like, man, this class is boring. I know the answers, but I don't want to pay attention because I don't even see the point of why I need to learn quadratic equations. Like I can go answer it, but like now I'm just distracted. I'd rather go talk to this chick over here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I remember that. So I can talk to my boys and be like, yo, I know it's about girls, this, that. But let me tell you, that can coexist with your great education. But also, let me tell you this, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. So let me give you the game. And that's how I give people game, because I was that kid. I was that kid that was disconnected. I was that kid. So I always charge people to be like, that's like, think about Deion Sanders. People rock with Deion at his school so much is because he's authentic, but he also know he can speak to that kid that want to be prime time. Show a little razzle dazzle in the locker room. Like be you. whatever it is, be you. And that's as long as you being the best you that you can be within the sandbox of our organization, man, run it.
And
So
I think I agree 100% with what you're saying. And as far as the representation, you know, you were talking about how you wear a suit some days, then you show up, you know, dressing like maybe some of your students dress. And it's the same thing with Dion. Dion is a God-fearing man, right? He's always talking about God. He's always talking about, you know, raising a family. But then, you know, he still has his little prime time, his swagger to him, right? So it's something that his players can relate to, and I'm sure your students feel the same way about you. And I'll send you tweets or I'll send you DMs when you post something, and I'll be like, I wish you were my principal.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. I genuinely wish that I had a principal like you, because it would have eliminated a lot of the different things that I went through at a young age. Although like I feel like those experiences kind of led me to where I am now. And I know Courtney, like the way all three of us, the way our brains probably work is not like, you know, the regular people, which is why we probably are on a call like this today, because not a lot of people would end up coming down this route and like trying to get into education, getting into crypto and stuff like that. So representation is important in education, but how do you feel about representation within like the crypto community as well? Because, you know, I feel like there aren't many people that look like us talking about it, or I may not be seeing it as much as I should.
Yeah, no, man, you know, it's similar in education. Like after I went to Tuskegee for my first summer, came back and went to, you know, a PWI university out here. And as you go up, I got 2 master's degrees and I was accepted to go get my doctorate at
Hold
UCLA.
on. I know what PWI is, but just for our audience.
So PWI is a predominantly white institution, right? So I came back and went to a predominantly white institution, and I found myself being the only Black male in my classes. Then I went to UCLA when I was accepted for my doctoral program, and I was like the only Black person in the program. And then I had this like moment where, and I'm gonna land it back to crypto. I had this moment when I was in the doctoral program about to start it, right? And I'm like, why am I here? Like I had to ask myself, like, why am I here? Because I was pushed by like a lot of people, like, go get your doctorate, Rob, go get your doctorate. You need your doctorate. You need your doctorate so you can do the next things. And I was just like, yo, I don't care about this. Like, I'm trying to go do this community stuff. Like the next 3 years, paying them $75K to be doctor, or I can do the next 3 years trying to revolutionize my community or the world. I bet. So I let that and I ran to this. And the similarities exist right now in the crypto space. I feel like, you know, we are those people that's like the only Black person in the class, right? Like we trying to build. And then you got a difference, right? You got those who are investing in crypto, and you got those who are building in crypto. And those are fundamentally different, right? So you have like a lot of Black representation that's investing, which is valuable, but building is priceless. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so we can invest in Apple, but it's totally different if we owned Apple. And like, I think what you're doing, what I'm doing is like, we're trying to build organizations and DAOs and avenues where people can invest in. And it's a pipeline of power. So I think like, how do we overcome that is through platforms like this, education, but the evidence of learning is through application. So now everybody who's here, they have to now go and apply it and experience it. Because when you experience something, you know, it's like football. You got to go, you can watch so much film, but you still got to get out there and run that play. And you need repetition. So that's why I say, man.
Hey, so what was the first experience that you had personally with crypto? Like, did you buy, like for me, for example, I was at a workout and one of my partners was like, hey, I just got this Bitcoin wallet. This is like 17 or 18. I just got this Bitcoin wallet on my phone. And he's like, check it out. And I tried to download the wallet and it was just like super complicated. And I let it go and I didn't double back until like 4 years later. Right. So what was
downplay how actually hard-headed you were during that process? Anytime I mention crypto to this guy, he'd be like, "Yo, it's made up money. It's like monopoly money."
And I blame you for not being a better teacher.
Right.
We could have had that bag, dog.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
So,
But
man,
yeah, talk about it.
I'm gonna tell you too. So my first was with my brother. This was like, I want to say he was talking about Bitcoin, probably 2015, right? It's like, man, buy this thing, man. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Right? So he got me on Coinbase or something like that. I just put 20. I was like, yo, and that was when like you got your seed for. I'm like, yo, wait, I gotta remember these 9 damn words, bro. Then it sounded like some conch. That's how I was like, yo, they trying to think. I'm gonna put in a little $20. I gave him $20. So that was that. You know, I looked back and it was like, you know, got your little honey, whatever the case may be from it. But my first experience with like getting into Introduce, believe it or not, was Safe Moon.
No.
Listen, my boy was like, yo, I put in $1,000. My shit is at 20,000. I said, what? He said it went down like 12. He said, get in. I said, all right. He gave me some trust wallet. I said, what is a trust? I gotta do this. I said, man, it feel like I'm doing something illegal. Like he doing this, doing that. Man, I put in about $1,000, and it was when Safe Moon went crazy. I was like, oh snaps! I'm up like 25,000. I'm like, yo, this is about to be rich. We gonna go, right? And it was when all these coins was coming. I started to like learn around like deflationary, and I just went down the rabbit hole after Safe Moon because I'm like, yo, I made like 2,000%. That shit crashed, but it got me. It got me like going to be like, all right, what is deflationary? Meme coins, this coin, Bitcoin. I went to go just learn, and then that's when I was just like, yo, it's a whole world that nobody's talking about in my community. It's a whole world that nobody's talking about in schools. And I teach capital markets. I'm an investor. And I said, wow. Then I learned blockchain. I learned this. I said, oh my gosh, this could revolutionize education. And that was when I got an idea to start K12 Crypto. And that was when I said, man, what if I provide my students with the secure crypto wallet and I pay them cryptocurrency based off of metrics that they meet in school? And then I was just like, yo, how can I do that, right? And I looked at a PO app, started looking at that. And then I started to like read, and I said, wait, hold on. Ain't nobody doing this. I need to like have a startup. And then I started to learn about startup, and I said, you know what? All chips in. And I said, I'm going in head first. And that's kind of like where we're at now, man. We're on a vision, we're on a mission to like revolutionize the educational system with K12 Crypto now.
So you have the educational side of you, you got the crypto side of you, you put it together. You have K12 Crypto, which to my understanding is a free learn and earn platform that students can interact with.
Right.
And starting in kindergarten, when they graduate in the 12th grade, they can take the funds from their wallet and you like spread your wings and fly, right?
Sure.
For those who don't know about K12 Crypto, do you want to kind of, explain what it's all about?
Yeah, so I take it back to the user experience, really, like you as a student. Many of y'all went through school, if you probably in the States, most schools had a little paper bucks, dolphin bucks, class dojo bucks, and all these damn point systems, right? That don't mean nothing outside the classroom or the school, right? But they incentivizing you like, oh, you went to school for 20 days in a row. You're going to get class dojo points to buy you free chips at the student store.
Give them dolphin bucks.
Dolphin bucks, right? That's, in essence, that's crypto. Fundamentally, it's the same thing. It's an exchange for like, hey. So I said, most schools are already doing it. But ain't no liquidity. Outside the school, it don't mean nothing. So then you get the kids that's like, man, I don't care about no chips. I don't care about none of that. You know what I mean? Like they still do that. And forgive me, man, my dog and son is going off. But so K12 Crypto is essentially a learning management system that allows students to earn and learn to build the nest egg. So imagine you in school, right? I wasn't exposed to like the careers that I ain't know nothing about no musical engineer. I ain't know nothing about mechanical engineer. I ain't know nothing about truly, like, how many kids come from the hood be like, yo, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer. They don't have no idea. That's just the stuff that they get see on TV. They just like, yo, that make a lot of money. That get me out of the hood, right? But there's so many other careers. They take vocational out of the schools. So our platform allows kids to earn and learn and get paid to find out what they're good at. And now when they graduate, they don't have to go into student loan debt if they want to go to college. They don't have to go and be broke and be like, yo, I got to catch another person slipping just to eat. They don't have to now be like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? I got a little, is it life-changing money? No, but I got something that gives me hope to not go and take another person's life, or to not go into just drugs because I don't know what I want to do. So our platform has levels where it's free for everybody, it's free, but then for schools, there's going to be licenses where they can create their own quest, what we call learning quests. So we have a national learning quest, which will be like, essentially I become like the national principal of crypto, in a sense of creating all these different quests. And then the districts will create a district-wide quest where they can specifically work for their districts. And then schools will create a school-wide quest where they can curate different quests for their schools. And that's how it works.
Honestly, I think projects like this are so important because like Peter Thiel has this book called 0 to 1. Mm-hmm. And they say, like, yeah, most businesses are just an improvement on something that already existed. So you're like taking it from 1 to X. But when you're compiling a bunch of different components and building something that is like truly new, that's where the value is, because you're going from 0 to 1. And I feel like this is like a 0 to 1 thing, man. People are going to look at this and they're going to be able to model it, and they might apply it. They might apply components of it. But I think truly this is like the stone in the water that creates a serious ripple effect, because it just makes sense. Like, of course, you have to have intrinsic motivators to keep you going. But like, it helps when there's a little carrot out there in front of you too, to get you moving in that right direction. So talk.
If I can say this,
go ahead, man.
We play ball, right? We play ball.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all can answer this, because this is important. What motivated you?
Lifestyle, meaning the current lifestyle wasn't the lifestyle that I was trying to be in for the rest of my life.
I mean, like, think about it. Most of us is incentivized on a destination of that pathway. Most of us. But for some kids, once they rationalize in their head that they can live without that destination, that's when they get distracted and make bad decisions. But what if you're incentivized along the way to also get to that destination? The incentives, so like intrinsic motivation comes naturally, right? When you start really seeing like, okay, I can do this. Like, you get a little bit of results in the gym, you like, oh, wait a minute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you start intrinsically motivating yourself. Like, and that's like that train of thought, right? That's that psyche that develops. But, at the end of the day, most people is incentivized, especially coming from where I come from, is how can they change their life circumstances?
Absolutely.
I saw something on Twitter the other day, and it was a thread on how learn and earn or learn to earn platforms are going to be revolutionary. And they said something that I thought was pretty interesting. They were saying how learning and earning has always been a thing, right? Yeah. You go to university so you can get that higher paying job, right? You have your credentials. And, I think it's cool that people are starting to apply that to what's going on, because everything was, play to earn and whatnot. So I really think it's I agree with them. I agree. And I love what you're doing with your school. How has it been? Because I think you said on the K12 Twitter that you have 10 schools on board so far.
We got more now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that process like, having to, because I know you had to go and educate these other schools because they may not have the same knowledge that you. They don't have the same background in crypto. So, you know, you come to them with a learn and earn platform. They're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How did you, like, how was that education process for the schools that you were trying to get on board?
And how do you even break the ice on that?
So, you know, this is why I feel like my journey it's all been interconnected, like from rap, football, all this stuff. So when I opened my school, I wrote a book. I wrote a book called Revolutionary School Culture. And it became an Amazon best-selling book. And I've been going across the country, like helping principals before K12 Crypto, just helping principals come up with a better culture, incentivizing their kids in different ways, not with crypto, right? So I was already in New York, DOE. I'm already in Miami. I'm already working with principals across the nation, mentoring. So then when I started K12 Crypto, I'm like, bro, listen, now I got a platform. Like now, what I'm already doing with you right now, think about it, your kids can earn money. Because most people that I educate on and some of the biggest problems in education, we prove that we can teach kids. You want to know that one of the biggest problems in education is you fighting against the byproducts of poverty. That's what you're fighting against. You're fighting against the trauma. And most like you talk about lack of Black males and Black people in crypto, there's a lack of Black folks in mental health. So a lot of mental health in our schools, in our communities, try to get you just to accept your circumstances, right? They try to get you to be like, it's like, find a silver lining in an abusive relationship. You know, that's kind of hard to do. Like, yo, I got this person and I'm trying to find the beauty in that. It's like trying to find the beauty in hell. Like, wait, hold on. Something ain't adding up, right? So when I start to really educate people, like, yo, think about this. We've all been doing great work, but we ain't made a dent in the system. In actuality, there's more. It's actually widening. There's over 14 million poor kids living in our country right now, living in poverty. The $1.7 trillion student loan debt crisis is projected to hit $2 trillion in 3 years. How is that? Tell me, how does that make sense? And most kids coming from where I come from, the data is clear. They're not exposed to high-paying jobs. So you know what the type of jobs they get? Social work. Not none against it, but they go into like governmental jobs, these jobs, low-paying jobs or middle-wage jobs. They go, that also requires them to get a master's and all this stuff. So they end up leaving school with $40,000 of debt to come back to their hood to make $50,000. I taught math like that. The math don't add up. So now you get a younger generation looking at it like, they may not be the smartest, but they understand like, damn, you went to go to school that long and you still up in the hood with me? It don't make sense. So when I start educating them on that, they're like, yeah, so what can we do? All right, you know that little point system you got? Let's scratch that. Let's give them real money. But we ain't gonna say it's money. We're gonna give them crypto because crypto still got this gamified like way. When you say I'm gonna give you money, it's like, damn, you don't get money. I'm giving you crypto. It's still like the point system. It's still like the Fortnite. It's still gamified in a sense. So now kids is like, damn, I can earn NFTs, I can earn crypto. And then if I graduate, I can get money. So I got most principals like, yo, sign me up for that. How much it costs me? They like, yo, for a license for a school, it's gonna be $25,000 for a software license. Right now, there's more money in schools in American history right now. I'm gonna tell you this because I was a principal. 70% of our budget goes to personnel, teachers, coordinators, all this stuff. But there's a massive teacher shortage. So now principals is looking for money. They're looking to spend money. So they buying all these EdTech stuff, class dojo, license. None of them working. Because the principals don't even know how to use the damn tech. They just buying it. So it's like, yo, bro, you already buying this stuff. Why don't you buy something and make the kids earn some money? And that's when they like, yo, sign me up.
I don't know if this is an obvious question or not. Like I'm learning from you as we speak.
Right.
What is the shortage in teachers due to? Is it pay? Is it conditions? Like what is it?
Bunch, but it mainly it's the teachers one of the probably top 3 disrespected professions in
100%
in the world, right? not only when it comes to pay, but when it comes to like, so it's like, damn, you damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? And what I mean by that is people always blaming the education system, blaming teachers. Then you got some principals that blame teachers. It's just like, yo, and then after the pandemic, you had 18 months. Take in mind, it was hard for adults. 18 months for kids not having no mall, not having no movies, not having no arcades, dealing with divorce rates, dealing with domestic violence, dealing with drugs, dealing with TikTok all day. And then they come back to school. Oh, little Jimmy, a different kid. Little Jimmy coming with the terror. He coming with all that, right? You got to be like, oh, what? And they weren't prepared for that. You were prepared for Jimmy. Now you got Jimmy.
Yeah.
And now you like, yo, this ain't worth it no more, right? So now, you feel that. And then you put on top of that, Americans got a taste of being remote. And you like, so you start putting you mad, you start saying like, yo, I'm making 45K and I'm dealing with this. I can make 45K doing something else real quick without the stress. I love teaching, but I don't like teaching. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's at. It's like, oh, I love teaching, but I don't like being a teacher. That's the right way. You know what I'm saying?
And the way you are, like your personality as a principal, have you noticed a difference like within your teaching staff and like, are they happy to come to work? Like, what is that environment like?
Yeah, man, I always tell people come and talk to my staff. Like majority of my staff love it. You ain't gonna never have 100%. Like I got some staff that's like, yo, this dude is just everywhere. He doing too much. You know what I mean? Like he got like everybody following him. He talking crypto, but I'd be like, yo, match my fly. I'm not, I like, it's like Jay said, I walk in every room as my authentic self. And then if I'm gonna tell my students, hey, shine bright, walk in the room like you own it, I'd be damned if I'm gonna dim my light just for your comfort. Nah, man. Like my mom, everybody said, my dad told me, he said, change the world, son. Don't let the world change you. So if you feel discomfort because I walk, like I'm confident in myself. It ain't arrogant. I'm just confident. Like I know my ability. I'm self-aware. So there's some teachers that, they just like, yo, he a little too much. He had a little too much for me. And I get that. But for the most part, man, kids love being in my school. My staff love being in my school. We tight as a family. But like any other thing, man, there's some people that need to get off the bus. There's like Baskin Robbins, man. There's 31 flavors for a reason. Like my school and my style just may not be your flavor. It don't mean that you're a bad teacher. It just mean like this ain't the school for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, so
go ahead, Courtney.
No, I was just gonna ask, kind of like, there's so many options now these days with, like technology. You said you got all these different EdTech platforms. You got so many different solutions. How do you see the K12 situation fit in with what you do and like how it complements what you already do? Like, are there specific examples of how you think it could be applied, like to say, for example, like class project or something? Just try to get a tangible idea of, how you might be able to apply it and how you see it working out for teachers and for students.
Absolutely. So this my, fortunately and unfortunately, this is my last year as a principal, because I'll be doing K12 full time. And the user experience will be connected to being in school and out of school. So I want you to take in part where, as a teacher, right? It's like, yo, I have a kid that's struggling with subtraction and regrouping, right? Like fourth grader, subtraction and regrouping. Now it's like, instead of me saying like, go and do this homework, like in class, hey, go log on to K12, right? And boom, there's a classroom quest where there's now an educator who specifically made an online module where that kid can go and learn and earn getting taught from that different teacher. Not only in the classroom, but how about now at home? Now parents can say, hey, you instead of being on TikTok for 3 hours, you can go and explore on a K12 platform with different things on how to build an app, how to drop your LP on Spotify, how to, you know what I mean? Like how these different functions and earn crypto for doing it. So that's from like the experience that we see having it. But then like as a principal, it's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna create a quest. Bam. The next 30-day attendance quest. If you come to school in 25 out of 30 days, you're gonna get K12 token. You're a kid, you get notified like, oh, dang, my school just got a quest. Oh man, for the month of March, if I make it 25 days, I can get 50 K12 token. Do you want to accept? Yes or no? Yeah, I'm in that. Bet. I either could say no, or I could say yeah. Because research shows that when kids feel like they have control over their learning, they can do better. Like you have a choice. It ain't like, oh yeah, no, you selected this. So now it's like, that's where that kind of like that play on intrinsic. Like, do I want to do this? Because now if I say, yeah, I accepted that challenge. So now it's like, what am I going to do to fulfill it? That's our behavioral research that we're trying to do.
That's dope. That's dope. And I think there's so many different places where you could tie it in.
Yep.
And then by the end of the road, this kind of relates to what you were saying with that whole, the system is, and the system is multiple systems layered
Correct.
on top of each other that intersect with each other. But the way that education is, generally people get streamed into different pathways. And one of those pathways is to go post-secondary. And even if you don't have the benefit of a scholarship, you take on loans. They give loans to people who don't know how to assess their personal finances. They couldn't qualify for any other loan, but they're going to give them the biggest loan of their life, fresh out of high school. And they put them in school and whatnot. But I'm thinking this program could potentially offset some of that financial burden. So talk a little bit about, the student loan thing, but then also how financial literacy comes into play with this whole situation.
You got to think about it. What I said at the beginning, the evidence of learning is through application. You get to experience financial literacy in real time from K through 12. You're seeing compounding the input output. See, the problem right now is kids' input output is good most of the time in kinder, first grade, second grade. By the time they get to third and fourth grade, their input output start to get distorted in the hood. They start to see like, I ain't getting those in advanced classes. I ain't doing that. I'm getting kicked out more. So this is zero sum game. Like, oh, there's something wrong here. And then they start looking at society like, yo, I got a lot of people working hard, but they still here. Something ain't adding up. This system something ain't right. They don't know how to articulate it, but their behavior is saying like, something ain't right here, right? And then you get teachers that ain't connected. So you start seeing, but wait, what if we can now get your focus staying on this input output that stays the same, right? You get on the system, no matter if you got that horrible teacher in front of you, you with the app, you with K12 can still learn and earn your way to a nest egg if you still graduate, right? So now it allows you to see compounding of your dollar, compounding of your sweat equity, right? And then now you're saying, what would you do with your life if money wasn't the incentive? Like, let's say you have money. Let's say you graduated with $100,000. What would you want to do with it? Now it gives us educators. You give an educator like me, knowing that a kid could possibly graduate with $50,000. Oh, watch how I teach them how, hey, yo, you partner with sis, you partner with that. Y'all go buy that block over there when y'all graduate. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a totally different teaching game versus saying like, yo, all right, let me tell you this. Y'all got 50K. I'm gonna tell y'all, get on the trade line real quick. Do that for a year. Y'all credit gonna be booming. Then y'all go get this. You know what I mean? Now we teaching. You know what I'm saying? Versus, listen, when you go to get out, there's gonna be a whole bunch of credit cards that come. Just be careful. That's what teaching was when I remember. Don't accept the credit cards. Don't do that. Go into debt. So it's a totally different. One is defense and one is offense.
It's like you're you're educating them, but you're also teaching them life skills as well.
Absolutely.
Because these are things that like I started learning in my mid-20s, right? And a lot of it was because of Courtney. Like, this dude will just send me content. Like, his brain is like a computer sometimes. He'll just send me content. I'm like, dude, I don't consume content like this, but he's forced me to learn and get out of my comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
But for you, and we're getting ready to wrap things up soon. Just we don't want to take too much of your time. It's been a great conversation. For you, and like, you know, principals, teachers that may be watching this in the future, when did you see that shift in your students? Because I know you got funding for the school in 2017. I'm not sure what the graduation rate was like or what the school was like prior to that. But, you know, one of the big things that you are proud of is your 100% graduation rate, right?
And we're about to have another one, Bobby, this year too.
Awesome. That's amazing. When did you see that shift in your students? Like, was it the fact that you took over? Was it the non-traditional, you know, subjects you were teaching? Like you're talking about you had a press machine and stuff like that. I've never heard of that in my life. Yeah. Was it that kind of stuff? Like, when did you see that shift?
So I'm gonna give you context. So I opened my school. So I didn't have to like, so that's the benefit of me, like of where I was at. I had to build a culture. I didn't necessarily have to turn around a culture, but I had to get people to be invested in this culture because I was, you know, in the hood. It was in my community, right? So I had the leverage of being able to start something. And if I always charge leaders that I mentor, it's like, yo, if you have an opportunity to build something new, build something new. Like, why would I go build something that's the same? So I built the school to be the school I wish I had. So I already knew that I'm still a district school. I still have to follow these traditional archaic systems, but I needed to remix it. So I had to be creative with my master schedule. And the master schedule is just the time allocated for learning. So an hour a day is dedicated to kids finding their passion. That's why I know K12 will work, is because an hour a day after lunch, we got a firefighter academy, we got a courtroom on campus, we got 14 3D printers, we got a gaming room, we got a heat press, we got all these different things. So it's like, yo, you don't like, and I'm with my kids, I'm like, what do you want to do? All right, cool. Then I'm gonna go out and try to figure out how I'm gonna get it here. Now, once I get it here, I'm on your head. You better be up in there every other day, because you can't tell me that you want something and you ain't willing to work for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, I was good at football and I liked football. I didn't love football, and those things are different. And I want kids to find what they love, that they wake up and do this without like thinking twice. So that worked. I also remixed it where, I don't know if you're familiar with Harry Potter, I created what's called a house system at my school. So I got 4 houses, but we remixed it for the culture. So I got the house of courage because I wanted kids to like speak up and stand for something. I have the house of friendship, I have the house of advocacy, and I have the house of motivation. But if you hear those houses at 1450, you be like, yo, that's cool, but we wanted to make it like dope. So the house of courage, we call it House of Kaepernick, Team Cap, after Colin Kaepernick. No matter if you like him or love, whatever, he was courageous. Like, that's undisputable. Then we have the House of Friendship, but that wasn't named after Michelle. That was named after Michelle Obama. We call it Team Obama. So the kids are like in that house. Then we have the House of Advocacy after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We call them Team AOC. Then we got the House of Motivation. We in LA. We call it the House of Hustle after Nipsey Hussle. Then we gave them each house a color. So House of Courage is red, House of Advocacy is black, House of Friendship is blue, and the House of Hustle is green. So they got shirts, they got merch, and 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th for each house. And they had to compete against each other for the best GPA, attendance, grades, all these different things on campus. So it brings like this college spirit, sense of love, but they all under our school. So like all those things put together helped us get to where we got to.
I was gonna say, you were gamifying learning before you were even building K12.
Absolutely.
That's dope. That's so dope.
That's wicked. Courtney, did you have anything to add?
No, man, I really just want to say thank you for taking the time to like share your passion, man. It makes it easier for people to believe that an idea shouldn't be slept on. You know, it's easy to think about things. It's hard to execute them. But when you have a person like yourself sharing your passion and make you feel like, you know, you can turn that thought into action and execute on something that'll make a difference, man. So I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate y'all, man.
And for me, appreciate your time. Appreciate you dealing with the technical difficulties. And, we just love seeing genuine people in this space hustling and, doing something for the greater good. And it makes it easy for us to cheer you on now that we know more about you and, how much passion and love you have behind this project. Like, I want to see nothing but the best. And I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to make this happen. So I'm cheering for you. And thank you for hopping on this podcast.
And where can the people follow you at and stay in the know with K12?
Yo, follow me on Twitter, Principal Rahh. Follow K12 Crypto on Twitter and Instagram. But man, I'm charging everybody, get involved with our Discord, get involved with our community, because we do feel like it'll start in the States, but we feel like it'd be global. So yeah, but that's where we at, man. Join the community, because the power is with the people.